That means it's time for Vibrant Live U from the Meeker Co-op.
Thanks for having us, Steve.
Yeah, we welcome Bo, Nathan, and Jane. She's Jane, I can tell that.
That's usually the easiest one to pick out for sure.
Well, thanks for having us again, Steve.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, so kind of a funny story last week. We were on the radio live, and one of the Vibrant vans drove by, and we had talked about it. And what you guys don't know is a little behind the scenes. My phone started to ring, and while we were on the air, I should have just answered it, but I'm like, so I didn't. And turns out that the person on driving by was Mike Flata,
Yep.
And
he was listening live.
He was listening live,
He thought it'd be a great time to call.
Try to call in and get on the air.
And it wasn't planned. So so now if you're in the area, Mike, you should just drive by and honk. So just honk to let us know you're listening. So anyways, that was kind of fun. So last week we ended up talking about scams and how to avoid them.
Yep.
And this week we're going to be talking about streaming music over the internet.
Yeah, so we've done a lot of talk about streaming, your video for, Netflix, YouTube TV, but, streaming audio has become one of the most popular uses of the internet. So now with more widespread availability for high-speed internet, people are able to download, apps like Spotify or Amazon Music, and you can listen to not only music there, but you can listen to audiobooks, podcasts. So that's kind of what our topic will be today.
Yeah, I mean, like Bo mentioned, there's a lot of different companies that are getting into the game now. Spotify, maybe people have heard of, that's probably one of the most popular. Apple Music, Amazon has their own, YouTube has their own. There's probably dozens more, and they offer all kinds of stuff, whether it's free music listening where you can listen and they'll have ads mixed in, or you can pay a subscription service and listen for unlimited without ads. There's different tiers of, pay more to get less ads, pay, all these different options. So, but that's kind of, for those that don't have a radio nearby or aren't in their car, at home, sometimes it's a convenient way for someone to get audio, or if you're sitting at your desk.
Right. I know the first thing I do in the morning is log into iHeartRadio and
play some music.
Yep. I don't like it. It's too quiet. I like it a little loud.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, if you're, often uses people go to the gym, people work out, go for a run. It's not easy to have a radio with you, or if you're doing, especially if you're doing something more mobile. So that's when people get a Bluetooth headset or a wired headset to your cell phone, download Spotify or an app and listen to music or a podcast. Bo mentioned podcasts. If you're not familiar with what a podcast is essentially, it covers a lot of different things. You could have like a documentary style podcast that is basically like a video documentary done with audio only, where you can listen to, a true crime story about something or anything that kind of covers documentary. You can do a podcast of people just getting together and talking about their favorite beer. I know we know a guy who has his own
Shane.
Yeah, we know. Shout out to Shane and his I think it's the Beer Guys podcast. So that's becoming more and more popular, as well as audiobooks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and audiobooks is something that people have been getting more and more into, especially if you have a longer commute and you love to read. You have maybe 45 minutes of time where you can be listening to a book instead of reading it. If you don't know how to read, you can also do it that way too.
Especially whenever I drive out of the area or out of state, you never know the local radio stations. You don't know what music to listen to. That's when the audiobooks are for those long drives.
For sure,
really, really nice.
Yeah. I actually have some friends that they said the kind of a tip is to, if you want to get through a book a little quicker, you can listen to it at 1.5 speed. So you're not going to get it to the point where it sounds like you're listening to the Chipmunks, but you will be able to get through books a little bit quicker. So that's kind of a little tip. And, some companies are, Audible, Google Play Books, audiobooks.com. There's a lot of different options for finding
I think
them.
even the local library now, you can listen to some audiobooks and rent them through the library and listen to them audio style as well.
Yeah. And there's free options where some of those just, have a huge library for free with ads. Some of them you pay $10 a month and you have access to, a wide variety of books. And then another way that you can do it is, if you have a home TV and you want to, do some chores throughout the day, you can load up audiobooks there. You can load up your music through, Roku. The Roku channel has a lot of different music options depending on the genre you're looking for.
Right. They do have a lot. I was just looking at that yesterday, and they have you can do like the fireplace and you can look in the fish.
Yuletide logs.
Yes.
Yeah.
The other DirecTV, we do a lot with DirecTV Stream, and that's another company that has a lot of music channels as well. What I like to do is, so I have 2 younger daughters, and they play a lot of sports, and so a couple of years ago, we ended up getting this huge speaker. It has wheels and everything. So they take it on the road with them for games and all this stuff. So during the summer, and see, Randy's not here to confirm or deny this, but but I take that out in the summer and I just crank it up while I'm weeding the garden. So it kind of keeps the distraction of the lovely task of weeding. So that's pretty awesome. The other thing, too, is I can take my phone and mirror it to my TV and the music that I listen to. And so I like that option as well.
Yeah, I mean, with the increased popularity with like wireless headsets, you may see those Apple AirPods that hang out of people's ears, or even wired headsets or whatever. It makes it a lot easier to be mobile and listen to some music or podcast or whatever. Or if you want to get a Bluetooth speaker, like Jane mentioned, a lot of people want to go hang out at the beach or hang out by a pool, and people always need to be listening to something.
And they don't have to be huge like that. There's just a little.
Yeah, you can get all kinds of shapes, sizes, volumes, all kinds of different stuff. I mean, you'll never find a lot of the local content, unfortunately, like with streaming. So if you're looking for, current events, local music, local stuff like that, places like KLFD are always going to be your best bet for that kind of stuff. So if you have access to a radio, that's the best spot for local stuff for sure. These streaming providers, they focus more on nationwide or global stuff, so they're not as dialed into the local community, which is one reason we love KLFD and being a part of the local scene.
My girls make fun of me because I have the headset with the antenna, and so when they're, because KLFD does the live hockey games, so I tune that, listen to them talk, and then watch them play, and they're so embarrassed, but hey, I like it.
That's your job. You have to embarrass them a little bit.
Yeah, there are rules too about streaming sporting events. Sometimes you have to pay extra for that kind of stuff, certain sporting events. Like Jane mentioned, if you were trying to get local Litchfield stuff or local stuff here, you're only going to get that on like a KLFD, for example. So it's not an end all be all, but it kind of bridges the gap, especially if you're going to the gym or you're going for a run or you don't have access to a radio, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and a couple of different ways to get into it is, these companies typically offer a free trial. So the paid subscriptions will give you about a week to test it out. You can try these different companies and see which one you like the most. They're very similar, but they all have their differences that some prefer over others. And if you look with your cell phone plan, a lot of times you can actually get, for example, Apple Music, you can get that with some Verizon plans included. So they'll actually credit you that $10 a month that it would normally, cost. So you can get that included. You may have that already and just not know that it's an option. So we always recommend looking into it and, seeing what you can find.
Yeah, I know we talked, several weeks ago now about smart speakers that you can get in your home, whether that's an Amazon, like Alexa type speaker or a Google speaker or whatever. You can pair some of these audio services to that speaker as well. So you can just verbally say, hey, Google, play this style of music, or play this podcast I was listening to, or pick up this audiobook, and it can do it right then and there. I went and got a bunch of Google speakers. Actually, I had kind of spread out in my house, so I actually have several different rooms connected. So I could even say, hey, play this on all my speakers. So if I'm cleaning the house and I'm walking throughout the house, it's all the same song or the same, whatever. Or you can just play it on the one speaker if you're just hanging out in one room and you don't want to bother your wife or significant other in the other room with what you're listening to. So
yeah,
Bo has a funny story too.
Oh yeah, so I was talking to my coworker before the show, just telling her what the topic was today, and I was like, yeah, I can tell Apple Music to play terrible music, and it'll just throw some country on. He'll throw some new country.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Bo's not the biggest country fan.
But it did. It started to play.
And it actually started playing country music on my phone because it heard me. So.
And I don't think the person that was singing was a bad country singer either.
No.
So.
There's some good. I'll listen to a little bit. Older country, maybe.
Yeah, but you really, with streaming audio, you can find what you're looking for the most part. Like I said, except for the local stuff. But if you're looking for, podcasts, audiobooks, a lot of that stuff, and if you don't, a lot of times you can use it on your internet provider when you're at home, and a lot of people now can use it mobilely with their cell phone provider.
Right.
So you just need the internet connection, and it's either going to play from your phone speaker or from a headset or a Bluetooth or whatever. So that's kind of streaming audio in kind of a nutshell.
Well, I know one more thing. So it's like if I'm ordering something on Amazon and I decide to push back the delivery date, they throw in, take X amount of dollars off of Audible or something.
Oh,
too.
sure.
So,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I know some provider, like cell phone providers, some of those come with music services included. Like if you have a Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T, or whoever, you check with your provider. Sometimes they have affiliates, and you may get a discount, or you may get a deal, or you may have free access to a lot of this stuff. So be aware of that. So if you have more questions about streaming audio, what kind of options there are, how to use it, you're a book reader, you didn't realize you could listen to books, which may be more convenient for you. You can certainly email us questions on that, or if you have ideas for other topics you want us to discuss on Vibrant U Live here on KLFD, email us. We have an email set up. It's vibrant, the letter U, LIVE, at meeker.coop. That's vibrant U live at meeker.coop. And we love to hear from people via email. So absolutely shoot us an email.
Yeah, and you can also listen to the replays of these episodes on Facebook, on our Facebook page, or on our YouTube channel. So either one.
And you can see us.
Yep.
You'll be able to tell which one's Jane.
Yep.
Right.
Jane
For sure.
and
sticks
Bo's
out.
sporting a new Bo's sporting a new look here.
Yeah. Yep.
You
I'm
may confuse
growing my first beard.
You may confuse me and Bo now because we both have beards.
Yeah, so we
look
might be
almost the same.
brothers now.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you can also listen here live, every Wednesday at 10:30 at KLFD.
Or you can give us a call at Vibrant 693-3231 or go to our website, vibrantbroadband.com.
Because who wouldn't want to be vibrant? Isn't that right?
That we all are vibrant.
So thanks, KLFT, for having us. Thanks, Steve, for having us on today. Thank you for listening. We love hearing from people that listen. We hear from people all the time. Thank you for listening. My name's Nathan.
I'm Jane.
And I'm Bo.
And this has been another Vibrant U Live.
Vibrant Broadband. It's snorting fast.